Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Perpetual Chess Listeners. We have a really fun interview with rising social media chess star, Chess Knowledge with H1. That'll be coming your way momentarily, but I wanted to make sure you guys are up on a few things. Number one, the How to Chess podcast is back. So, of course, this is a more chess improvement focused podcast. It's on a separate feed, so make sure you're subscribed to the How to Chess podcast. It's easy to find on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can also get it with video on the Chessable YouTube channel. We've already released a few episodes for season 3, including with Grandmaster Ivan Sokolov, the legendary trainer, popular author I am Yuri Krikin. We've got another one that will be out by the time you hear this with I am Alex Bonzea. So again, make sure you're checking out the How to Chess podcast in addition to the Perpetual Chess podcast. Also wanted to thank Chessable for supporting the Perpetual Chess podcast. Of course, they've got so many amazing courses, and the newest include one from Dutch top commentator and player GM Benjamin Bach on the Nimzo Indian. Maurice Ashley is coming soon, narrating I am Jeremy Selman's How to Reassess Your Chess. That's obviously going to be a banger, one of the great chess books of all time from one of the great chess presenters of all time. So excited for that one as well as all of my favorites, which I will link to in the show description. While I have you here, make sure you're subscribed to my free chess newsletter, the Perpetual Chess Link Fest. It's just every Friday. I send you a bunch of chess links. From that point, you can read them or ignore them as you wish, but they are delivered to you conveniently for free every Friday. And that is all. We'll get you to the interview with Chess Knowledge with H1. Hope you all enjoy it as I did. Here it is. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Perpetual Chess Listeners. We are joined by a rising chess social media star, particularly on TikTok, where he is known as Chess Knowledge with H1. He's got 220,000 followers. That's about 220,000 more than me. He's also got 80,000 followers on Instagram, YouTube 75,000. He is everything I'm not: young, hip. He's also got a chess podcast called Chess Knowledge with H1. His first Chessable course is coming in December, which will be out probably shortly after this episode is out. We're actually recording on November 18th, where getting ahead of the Thanksgiving holiday. But I am excited to welcome to the program H1, well, known as H1 online, known as Devon Williams, IRL. Welcome, Devon. Good to chat.
Hey, yeah, that was good. Thanks for the introduction. Yeah, that's an amazing introduction. I've never got that before.
Thanks, man.
I heard you was the best.
I'm excited to chat with you. We did an interview on your podcast about a year back, and I hadn't checked in on your content in a while, and it blew up. And I was so happy to see that because we had a good interaction back then. And I know that you've been grinding hard, working hard, and it's paying off. So what do you think changed for you?
Well, I was doing the podcast for a little bit until I started just doing short form content like the reels and videos, YouTube shorts, and etc. Because, chess, yeah, I was doing the chess podcast for like a year as solo podcast and just certain events and stuff until I realized, well, I need to get a bigger audience, because a chess podcast, there's only a few people that you can get, the people that actually wants to listen to chess, but people need visuals, right? So that's why I decided on a plan. And it all started with the board that's behind me right now. Like the old school Yasser Saruman type of board. And
yeah, so it's a big, for people listening on audio, it's a big old school demo board like you would see in your chess class at school. Anyway, go on, Devon.
Yeah, and when I posted the first video, I really didn't think that would work. But yeah, a lot of people like that board, and you can honestly fit that board exactly on a reel or exactly on your phone camera. And it's really good. It's really good. And I got free room to do whatever I want, stand up, demonstrate myself to the audience, etc. And so, yeah, I just started posting a lot of videos and I had a rule, especially on YouTube, hey, I'm just going to do this many videos. If it doesn't work out, then I'm just going to go into a different genre or just quit teaching chess forever, But it worked out because, the rule was 1,000 videos, which I got 1,000 videos on YouTube.
Okay, good for you. Yeah. And how many a day roughly were you doing when you said, all right, I'm going to do 1,000 and see how it turns out?
Well, it started at 1 a day. And then I was like, well, let's try 2. And then at the end, if you check my catalog, last year around July, I was dang near doing 6 videos a day. And that's pretty much all the like how much effort you got to put into like chess content, because you're basically competing with a lot of people that's posting like basically 4 times a day. And so yeah, I just wanted to be in the competition.
Yeah.
So
Well, again, real testament to your perseverance. And Devon, as we chatted a little bit previously, you've been working while you're doing this, right?
yeah. Yeah. So I have a 9 to 5 job like everybody else. I'm a truck driver. So I'm able to, even as truck driving, I'm able to like listen to Perpetual Chess, like the podcast too, and get some ideas from like other grandmasters. And then plus, like I was like in the truck, I could remember me being on lunch, like forming video ideas. Just I even still have
Nice.
like so I primarily use Chess for, or the Chess studies part for making the videos. And so I would have like 30 videos lined up already of like openings that I wanted to talk about, or gambits or games, etc. It could be anything. People liked it. So
Well, I guess one thing about being a truck driver is it gives you time to think, right?
yeah,
It's a lot of brainstorming.
yeah, right. Because I'm not really. I've been doing it for a while, so I'm not really like scared of the like. It doesn't make me nervous backing up a trailer anymore. So after I'm
Makes me
done doing
nervous,
that,
man.
yeah, after I'm done doing that, and then I have some time where like I'm writing paperwork or something. I'm just writing outlines, not too long because still got to work. Usually during lunchtime, I was writing outlines.
Okay. And I mean, as we said, you're getting pretty big. I know that TikTok doesn't monetize as well as some other platforms, or at least that's what I hear. I actually
Yeah.
wouldn't know. um, but do you have thoughts of going full time with your chess content?
Yeah, I do, but for right now, I'm just taking it one step at a time. Just trying to figure out how the chess algorithm works. I just have fun primarily. I started this because I just wanted to teach chess. And usually when I'm not teaching chess, it's just like I don't really find enjoyment in anything else, because I've been doing it for so long. Like I've been doing it for over a decade. And in high school, I formed my own team there. So like I've pretty much all my life, I've been teaching chess at one point in time. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'd definitely like to come back and hear some more of your reflections on content. But I did want to get into your origin story, because I think with a lot of social media personalities, and since you focus on short form in particular, outside of people who listen to your podcast, people probably don't know that much about your background. So I went through your USCF page, so I don't know that much. I found a few things, but one thing that struck me was your first rating was 1600, and that's like super rare. So how did that happen?
I don't know how that worked, but that wasn't my first rating. It started at
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it started at like 1200, and then I went to my first tournament and like got first place there, because you have to be in the 1200 1600 bracket, and so won all those games. It climbed up, and then like as I was after high school, I started more directing the tournaments instead of playing in the tournaments. So sometimes I would play in the tournament, sometimes I wouldn't, and then I'll get my wins there. But I think the last rating I got on USCF is 1800. But I don't have enough time to play in tournaments anymore. I wish I could. That would be fun to like actually get, which that is one of my goals, to actually get one title at least. I don't know, be a candidate's master or something. But we'll see. We'll see about that in the future.
Yeah, Devon, I have to tell you, when some people say they don't have enough time to play tournaments, I'm like, I understand that tournaments are super tiring and it's a big commitment, and that you might not want to commit the time, but I bet you could create the time. But that's actually not how I feel about you working full time and doing your content on the side. I'd say it's legit that you don't have time. And the other thing that strikes me looking at your USCF page is like, I mean, again, unless it's missing something, you only played like 15 tournaments or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't play that much. Most of those tournaments I played in high school, like I said. And then after high school, yeah, I was like, I made the tournament. And then sometimes I have to put myself in the tournament because, it wasn't even, and you don't want to like kick somebody out. Right. And so, yeah, no, that was primarily it. But those tournaments are really important to me because I think, I forgot if it was one of the last tournaments I played in high school. I think I played Susan Poger's son. It was either Susan Poger or Judith Poger, but Yeah, that was pretty. Yeah, that was
Probably
interesting.
Susan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Susan Pogerstein.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So for listeners, he's Devon is based in Missouri. So are you in the St. Louis area?
yeah, yeah. And I met her too one time. I don't think she remembers me, but it was when I was really young.
Okay.
She,
I don't know, man. Those grandmasters have amazing memories. You might
yeah.
be surprised. But so only 15 tournaments and you got to 1800. How did you do that?
Well, I didn't really start playing the USCF from the start because most of my chess came from playing online on chess.com or leadchess.org. And then plus in Kansas City, we didn't really play in the USCF rating bracket. It was like another rating system. And I would just play in
Right.
regular tournaments. And then most of my experience came from being in a chess club, playing random people there that were high rated, like 1700, 1900, etc. And then sometimes playing international masters that would come in and come out, that used to happen a lot more a decade ago. I don't know if that still is a thing. But
I think it still is in certain. Yeah. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead. You can finish what you're saying.
I was going to say, I don't know if it's still a thing because back then it seemed like everybody used to just go to the library and just play chess on the weekend.
Yeah, I've heard that there are certain like scholastic enclaves here in the U.S. where the proprietor might have their own rating system, so people eventually get fed into the USCF system with different rating strengths that you might not expect from new players. And obviously now in the online age, like everything is scrambled to begin with. I mean, you can be so good when you show up for your first tournament, which, even 10, 15 years ago, that didn't really happen. And internationally, obviously, this has been going on for a long time where, especially as it compares to FIDE, but they're often like smaller, smaller rating bodies that necessarily aren't as accurate. But anyway, so I mean, it does make more sense that you were playing strong competition by the time you got fed into USCF. So you mentioned you played a lot. What else did you do to get good at chess, Devon?
Well, YouTube is probably the best teacher, honestly. And there's probably some teachers out there that don't even know that they taught me. Like, first of all, Yasser Sarawan, Maurice, like
Nice.
the commentation on the first tournament that I seen all the way through was the Sinkfield Cup in 2014. And it was like the best commentary. I can't say the word. Commentary in the world to me as a young dude. I was at that age, I think I was 14, 15. And it was the tournament where Fabiano Caruana got like 8 points in that tournament, 8.5 against all the great grandmasters like Magnus Carlsen, Topalov, etc. And I was like, wow, this is cool. This is online for free. Like, it's not like a paywall because, I didn't like back then I was a teenager. I didn't have the funds to pay the paywall. So I couldn't see like the master games. So it's just a unique world that we're living in right now. It's a cool era that you can see even grandmasters like Hikaru Nakamura just playing, streaming just every day. It's crazy to me because we didn't used to have that a decade ago.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, obviously, as you mentioned, that was a legendary performance by Fabiano. Of all the tournaments to just kind of get like join the online chess world for, that was a good one because that was some historic stuff. So what about these days? I'm guessing, I mean, it doesn't sound like you have a lot of free time. Mm-hmm. So maybe not watching as many other content creators as you would like, but do you have favorites that you watch both from like your own chess growth perspective and from like maybe I can get a few ideas perspective?
Well, nowadays I don't. I'm trying to think about all the like if I need to catch up on news, I'll watch Gotham Chess, of course. If I just want to watch some cool gameplay, I'll watch Hikaru Nakamura. But I used to watch a lot more chess content creators back when I was doing nothing, back when I was training, like John Bartholomew, all the OGs in chess. I always talk about this. Nice. All the OGs in chess, Chess Bra. Man, I used to watch a lot of their content. King Crusher, I don't know if he's still making content.
Oh, but I interviewed him. Yeah. It was way back. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was brand new, like to see people playing bullet games just online. And it was crazy when I was seeing, I was like, wow, there's something, because when I was growing up, I didn't know that there was something bigger than my rating. Like I didn't know until you actually look online and see, wow, these guys are playing bullet games and having 90% accuracy. Like, it's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can relate. And so when you were coming up, playing frequently in Missouri, did you have teachers? Like, what else got you good? Reading books? Was it, I mean, you mentioned the early content. Was there anything else?
So I started on, so when I started playing chess, first of all, my brother, my big brother, he taught me like how the pieces move. And I used to play against him all the time. And I've said this story a lot of times, like the first episode where my brother would just beat me relentlessly for like the first year playing chess because I didn't know any better. I didn't know how to develop pieces, but I started learning on this chess program, and it was on a PlayStation 2. So it was probably abnormal for like how everybody else learned. But there was this chess program on the PlayStation 2 called Chess Master, and it was with Josh Wainskin and Larry, I forgot that, dang, Larry Christensen. And yeah, that's where the primary of my chess knowledge came from, where I learned tactics, strategy, combinations, openings, etc. This whole new world, because back then, before that, I would just play the double fianchetto because that's what somebody taught me. Like the first thing somebody taught me.
Right.
I didn't know about the Italian game. I didn't know about the Roy Lopez or all these different. I didn't know those that even existed.
Right.
And so when I started learning how to play chess there, I would go to chess clubs too, and I was going to chess tournaments pretty much every 2 months. There was like a local chess tournament in Kansas City, and that's where the bulk of my knowledge came from. And when at a young age, I started teaching chess too, and that was good too. At the same time, as a young dude, with my brother, and we would just go to different schools, and that's where I get my experience in. And I was doing that for the first few years, just grinding chess, just doing anything I could, just listening to Josh Wainskin too, as he talks about, the formulas of, I don't know. He just has some really cool lessons on the Chess Master program.
Yeah, he's a good teacher. Yeah. In a recent interview, my friend Todd Bryant was touting his old books as well. Apparently, they stand up pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I mean, it's great that you've come that far. That now you've got like hundreds of thousands of people tuning in to your videos. So you credit your success partially to the demo boards. Couple things I got to ask you. Number one, and I'm sure you get asked this a lot, but where does the chess knowledge with H1? Where does the H1 come from?
Well, I've been actually doing the social media thing, trying to for a while, like in and out. Before this, like I used to stream. It used to be actually H1, H1N1.com.
Okay.
And I didn't feel like that was appropriate at the time to present myself as like H1N1 because that was a swine flu virus, which I did get as a 6th grader, and that's where it came from.
Okay.
Yeah, because everybody was dying from that virus, and so. Yeah, I got it one time and I was like, oh, that's a cool name. And that was like my joke name that I would use for all my game tags. And it actually still is. It's like H1N1.com or something, but not like the dot spelled out DOT.com. Just being stupid. But no, and then I just shortened it because one of my brothers was like, why did you just shorten it to H1? I was like, oh, that actually sounds good. And it's a square on the board. So, hey, it works out.
Yeah, I was wondering if it had to do with the square on the board.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned with the demo board that you feel like that's been a big part of your success. People like it. One other distinctive thing I got to ask you about is throwing the pieces. So when you do your short form video, after a piece gets captured, Devon just kind of chucks it up into the air. Like, is that something you were doing all along, or did it pick it up along the way?
Well, I looked at this video, and I was looking up all these videos on how to captivate an audience. And so I was just trying to think of ways to keep the audience like watching the video. And I was like, you know what if I just chuck these pieces? And it sounds like a fun idea. Let me just do it for the first time. And then it just felt good doing it. So I was like, let's just do it for the rest of the videos. And then people started liking it. I think people started noticing it after the 100th video that I did. I was like, what? He's chucking all these pieces. And now, it's crazy. Now, if you look at the pieces, I know the audience can't, if you're just listening to it, it's like chipped from throwing it. And so now I have to like buy new pieces
Right.
which is hard to buy. Is like it's only on one
Yeah.
website that I've seen it
I mean,
on.
right. I mean, it used to be you could get the backup demo pieces. I've done my time with the demo boards too.
Yeah.
It used to be like $3 or something for a backup bag, but I'm guessing everything's so digital that, as you say, they're like a little harder to find than they used to be.
Yeah, it's like no, it's like 29 right now. It's like 20,
Oh, just for the pieces.
just for the pieces. Yeah, not even the
Wow.
board. Yeah.
Okay, man. I mean, I guess I might be thinking of, so we're going to go super deep on the demo boards here because, Devon, is that magnetic, your board?
No, it's it's pockets.
Okay.
And
Okay, because I was going to say, some of the nicer ones are magnetic, and then there's the ones with like slots, basically, which Devon has a nice version of the slotted one. There's also like a sort of more plastic looking one, which is, or vinyl, which is the one that I taught the most on. But anyway, we're getting deep in the weeds on the demo boards. But I was going to ask, because you do have some videos too, Devon, where you have a physical chess set. So how do you decide what to use?
well, I primarily use this board. I was just trying something new, and because I've seen people use like I would want to like use different chess sets, and this one is pretty nice too, so I just use that one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to choose, but most people know me from the wall chessboard, so I just primarily use that.
Okay. Yeah, and now you've got your Chessable course coming out in December. I'm slowly working on a Chessable course as well. I'm personally working in Chessbase. Like, is that different for you now instead of just sort of doing a visual thing?
Yeah.
Like you've actually gotta write it all out. How's that process going, Devon?
Yeah, it was a lot to begin with, and it's taken me a while, and I put a lot of effort into it. Like I had to cut back on even some content because I put so much effort into it. But it's got done, and I'm proud of it. I'm actually pretty confident that it's going to do well. So yeah, no, I'm really excited.
Nice. So what's the course? What's the hook for the course?
So it's opening traps you must learn by H1 Chess. Yeah,
that's perfect. That's right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about openings. So anyway, go on.
Yeah. So I decided to make this course, and I was like talking to the person, and I was like, this sounds perfect, and nobody's doing it, and everybody's doing it online, and so they thought that it was a great idea. So yeah, I started making the videos and writing the notation for it because and I was thinking too, like I've seen a lot of opening traps back in the day online, and all these people professing that this opening trap is really good that you can use to defeat your opponent every single time. Just like there's a few lies in that sentence. Because as you become tougher, obviously the opening trap is going to happen. So in my course, I actually like teach, hey, this is a bad opening trap, but if you want to have fun with this, then have fun. And then I have good opening traps too, where you can actually, after their opening trap, after you present it and the opponent doesn't fall for it, you can actually play a regular game. Like my favorite one is with the Catalan. It's very simple, and you can play a legit game, and it's a very good move to play in Blitz too. So I'm excited to share it.
Awesome. Yeah, I was going to ask you because even just like scrolling through your videos on TikTok, like there's so many opening traps. Is it hard to keep coming up with ideas, or is that something you were into to begin with?
It is hard because there's not that many that I like. And I keep on deciding like, man, should I show this one? Should I not? And sometimes in my videos, I say, man, this is just a bad opening trap to
yeah, like I like your orangutan one.
Yeah, it's like and I'm actually
basically
I'm actually surprised that like people lost this way, because some of these opening traps came from real games, like short games. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy that this was a grandmaster game back in the 1900s, and people still lose to these opening traps very easily because they don't know them.
Yeah. I like the orangutan one. He's basically, so for listeners, I'll link to it in the description, but he basically shows like one sequence of the orangutan, and that's 1B4, also called the Polish for listeners. And he shows a sequence and it reaches this weird position, and you're basically like, this position is nonsense. I don't want to show you this. The video ends.
Man.
But
yeah, the orangutan is just one of those openings.
You would think someone might cut that, but that one got a lot of engagement, right?
Yeah, I usually try not to cut it because usually the mistakes is what people zero in on, and
Right.
it gets more views. So I don't like cutting it when I do a mistake. I just got used to just posting everything because you don't want to be in that mindset where everything should just be perfect because that just takes the humor out of it. I don't know. I feel like I try to be entertaining as possible, you know, the most entertaining
Right.
in my videos. And so I like putting the bloopers out there and the mistakes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so you're doing videos for TikTok and for YouTube Shorts, and I assume on Instagram as well, although I forgot to check there. So are you posting, I mean, I assume you would be, you're posting the same videos for each of those outlets?
Yeah, I am. TikTok is a little bit different because some things changed. Like, I think the creator fund is going away. So like, it, yeah, I think they're trying to get away from shorter form content, like a minute or less content. They're trying to get away from that and be a little bit more like
Interesting.
YouTube. So now I gotta like do separate content on TikTok and the same content on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, of course. So
Okay.
now that's separate. And on TikTok, I do a lot more things like I live stream and stuff and teach people.
Okay.
Mhm.
And on YouTube, you do longer form videos as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Sadly, the algorithm doesn't like help me well in the longer form
Yeah.
videos, but that's generally how it works. I'm still deciding on like should I just make a whole nother channel with my long form content and just put it on there instead because it doesn't work out.
Yeah, I wondered about that. I mean, I'm certainly, I couldn't give any advice on
Yeah.
YouTube, but
Yeah.
I did see that you're getting more traction with your shorter videos. And I wondered, like, especially as busy as you are, it's got to be tough
Yeah.
to figure out, like, what to emphasize
Yeah,
or
no,
prioritize.
it is tough because I do want to do more longer form content, but you know, the shorts do progress the channel a lot more, and with longer form content, you got to put so much effort into it, like being interesting in the
Yeah,
first minute and keeping the viewers captivated, and you got to have a good thumbnail because if you do, like you can have the best video ever, but if you have a bad thumbnail or a bad title, it just ruins the whole thing. And yeah, it's so much work into the longer form content. So I'm still deciding, but I'm favoring longer form content a little bit more. And so that's what I'm going to be prioritizing because I don't want to like leave those people that like that content. Like I have a lot of videos and I created playlists for all those videos. So I
that's
actually
good.
organized
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, and there is something like what you were saying about how like if you mess up in a short, it's almost like a feature. People would enjoy that,
Right.
but in a long form, I feel like people would be like yelling at you in the comments. You know?
That is too true. That is so true too, because you don't expect that in a longer form content. So
Yeah,
yeah, so I try to be perfect, and I actually edit those videos out. Like I don't want my mistakes being in there, because it's like you said, it's not good. It's not good at all.
yeah. If you don't want people yelling at you, it's not good. I mean,
Right.
maybe it'll find an audience. You never know, but
But a lot of people
there'll
yell at me in
there'll be
shorts too. They be like, I actually got comments of people saying, "Why are you throwing the pieces?" It's like that's disrespectful. I'm like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm trying to,
that's
like, clearly I'm
ridiculous.
appeasing the young crowd. Like I'm not.
Right. Disrespectful.
So
Disrespectful to who? The piece? Like
yeah,
what?
so it's clearly gonna be anybody that's gonna, um, I don't know, give a comment about something that they hate about the content that I make. So I just keep on making it, and I'm still happy doing it. So
Awesome. And how's the podcast going, Devon?
yeah, the podcast is going really well. I'm just doing the audio version right now. I would want to do the long term version. I don't know in the future. No, the video version in the future, but I don't know. We'll see. Your setup is a lot more different from mine. I'm just a solo podcaster, so sometimes I have guests, sometimes I don't, and it's like
Right.
when there's no content, there's just no content. Like, and there's only so much you can like teach about, which I don't mind.
Yeah.
Still teaching like the 5 mistakes that a beginner shouldn't do.
Yeah. You
It's
mean no
pretty fun.
video, right?
Yeah, no video.
Yeah. It's definitely a challenge. Yeah. And so you mentioned following the Sinkfield Cup, that legendary tournament in 2014 when you got back into it. Like, are you still following Top Chess?
Yeah, I try to.
eh,
There's the European. I forgot what
Team
that chess.
championship.
Yeah, there's that championship
Yeah.
that's going on. I actually went over some video. I went over some games in a video, especially the Magnus Carlsen game, and then there was one game that ended in like 20 moves, which is crazy. The position that he got himself in, where there's like a fork everywhere in that game. But yeah, I still try to follow chess content. There are some tournaments that I miss, but nowadays I'm more intrigued of the rapid and blitz tournaments more than the classical, because I don't have time to sit and watch the classical. I mean, I'm mostly a family man. I got 2 kids. I got a wife. Like, and so
I mean, it's amazing. Like, huge respect for the amount of work you're putting into your content with all that going on. It's super impressive. And yeah, I was also curious, like on a personal level, I mean, I noticed from the content that I put out that a lot of people are interested in their own games, but don't really have time to follow top level chess, which I totally get. But I was also curious to what extent you've tried covering top chess, like in your content.
Well,
have you done any videos? Like, I mean, you just mentioned 1 or 2, but like, have you ever like tried to cover tournaments and stuff like that?
Yeah, I've tried. I think that, personally speaking, I think that sector is actually saturated because there's so many good chess players that's already commentating on it. Like Agad Mentor, he's pretty good. Agad yeah, he's pretty good. And Gotham Chess already does it. And so, like, based on the analytics that I see, it's just, I don't know. It's pretty saturated.
Yeah, I think your instincts are probably right there. So how old are your kids, Devon?
Both of my kids is under 3 years old. So yes, I've been getting no sleep, and
man.
And yes, we're just doing the best we can at the
house.
You
just got to survive those years, man. I mean, they do obviously have their gratifying moments. Like, it's not like a pure slog, but for the balance of like you time to kid time, it feels like it's never going to go back, but it does shift back somewhat in a few years. So you got that to look forward to, as well as watching those little creatures grow up, which is a lot of fun.
And I like this age too.
Do you think they're going to play chess?
I like this age too.
Yeah. Sorry. It's fun.
I don't know. It's not. I don't know. It's kind of weird because I was thinking maybe I should just teach them chess right now at the age that they're at, because they might be interested and they want to do like all the stuff that I do. But at the same time, like, nobody really forced me into chess. It just came about, and I like really wanted to learn. And so I don't know which way I want to like teach the kids. I don't know. I don't know if I should just wait on them to actually be interested in learning like how to move the pieces, how to play the game, or if I should just like force them into it.
Yeah, I think every parent grapples with those sort of questions. I took it like I didn't force it on my kids at all, and now they don't really play chess, So, which, there's a lot of interesting topics in the world, so that's not a disaster or anything. But there is a part of me that wonders like what I could have done differently. One thing, I've mentioned this before on the pod. Other parent, mom and dad listeners might have different opinions, but I taught my older kid, my son, when he was 5 or 6, and I decided there's always the question of like, are you going to let them win? And I decided I wasn't going to let him win. And I think that might have hurt his interest at some point. So if I could do it all over again, I would at least experiment a little more with either letting him win or designing more games where he could win. Whether it be like material handicaps or pawn races or whatever it may be, because I do think that might have made him less interested from the beginning.
Yeah, that sucks. And I mean, that's respectful, because that's kind of like the mindset. I probably have to take that advice, because from my thinking, like, when you're starting out chess, and I usually tell all my students this, it's a humbling experience, because you're literally losing for the first year because you don't know anything, and just learning the pieces, you're only going to beat the local kid down the street. You're not going to beat like anybody that's actually like knows the amount of knowledge that you know. And so, you're going to be losing, and that's a hard thing to get through. I don't know.
Yeah. it's tough. There's this part of you that you're like, you want your kid to know that it's a cold, dark world and he needs to learn from his mistakes, but maybe you don't want them to know right away,
Yeah.
Maybe you want them to be like, hey, my dad's a chess master, but I beat him right away. I'm amazing, So, yeah, it's
Right.
it's a tough balance.
Gosh.
So obviously you're doing a lot of opening content, but like from a personal perspective, like what do you like the best about chess? What appeals to you about it just in your own chess game?
Just so what appeals to me now is very different from what it used to appeal to me when I was a young age, when I had to be cutthroat. Because I like being in front of somebody and then watching them squirm and lose and like think about ways to get out of this situation. And that was just that's kind of the mindset that you have to have as a person that's like trying to win at chess tournaments. But nowadays I just like primarily like the community and the commentators that be working really hard to broadcast chess and be entertaining with it as well.
Yeah.
Because that's a really hard feat to do. And, and that's why I started creating content in the first place, because I just wanted to make chess entertaining, because it can be. And a decade ago, I don't think it really was like, like for some people that was trying to make it entertaining. And let me just explain, there's like, when I was learning how to play chess, there was a guy teaching me openings, and it was very monotone, no expression. And that's basically all the content was like a decade ago. But nowadays we got like some expressions. We got Maurice Ashley saying, this game is busted. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
we got Gotham Chess, and he has his whole different personality with the game. And I like it. It's really cool. So I enjoy the community. And but if we're talking about inside the game, I enjoy just figuring out problems and figuring out how to finesse the opponent to get in a win, no matter, no matter what. And, just being the underdog too in some positions, and then getting a draw and a win always satisfies me. That's always been a pleasure of mine. It's like, yes, finally, I saved this position.
Nice.
Yeah.
The art of the swindle.
Yes.
Yeah. And what would you say your playing style is?
There's this old chess personality website. I think it's still up. That I use. And they said I'm a positional attacker. That's like the terminology that they use. And there's a grandmaster that told me a long time ago, you're positional, but like if you're given the opportunity to attack, you always take it. And so I guess like, yeah, that's kind of my personality on the chessboard, like Botvinnik. I guess. Yeah.
Excellent. And do you have, so obviously, again, making all these opening videos, but what's your personal favorite opening?
It's the Catalan. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
And nobody likes to play it that much. I'm like, dang it. But then I found some other openings. So if you don't play the Catalan and you want to get me in like a King's Indian defense structure, which is whack, I'll just play the Trompowsky, because I don't like... and take your knight and just mess up your whole little little thing that you wanted to do, because there's certain openings that I just hate playing against, and I will avoid it at all costs. Like the Bonon defense, don't even try to play that against me. I will not play it. I will not play it against you. And whatever gambit you try to throw at me, hey, it's no, I'm not playing it against you. I'm not accepting it. Cool.
That's funny, because a lot of people feel that way about playing against the Catalan.
Yeah.
But you won it on your turf and they won it on theirs. And yeah, I used to play the Benoni, and after D4, knight F6, C4, C5, if they would play like E3 or something, my heart would just sink. Even though like these days the engines hate the Benoni, like I was volunteering for objectively a bad position, and E3 is not as feisty. But yeah, I mean, you got to think about the styles of the players as well.
And this is and there was a certain moment when I started hating the Benoni. I didn't used to be like this. I actually studied it. There's one time where I did extensive studying of that opening. I was like, okay, I'm about to go into it. I know a position that I want, and I know the plans. And I still lost. Like, I still lost against my opponent. And I was like, I don't know the secrets. I don't know the mysteries. I'm quitting this opening. Now, I'm quitting trying to punish the Benoni, because I know the computer hates that opening. I know it.
Yeah.
But as a human, you just don't know why. You don't know why you hate it.
Yeah. And you don't have a lot of time to investigate it between the kids and the content
Right.
and the job. So yeah, totally understandable. Well, Devon, this has been awesome. One thing I definitely want to do before we say goodbye is, I mean, how many years have you been making content now?
I would say a couple years, seriously.
Okay. So actually, I mean, it feels like a long time because you made so much content, but I mean, there's a lot of people who grind it out for many years and don't see the success that you have. So it's a testament to your perseverance and your originality. So what tips do you have for other would-be chess content creators?
What tips? The biggest tip that soared my rating is learning how to the thought process of chess. That's the biggest tip, because most people, and I didn't even know it until like a couple years ago. Like I said, I didn't have a lot of books and I didn't have a lot of information in my hands to like look stuff up. And so I didn't grow up with the internet either. So I didn't know the thought process of how to think about a chess position. Like the first step is to look at your opponent's threats. Second step, look at all of your threats, all of your forcing moves, the captures, checks, and threats. And then look for all the candidate moves. And then the third step, actually calculate all the forcing moves first. And then fourth step, blunder checking. That's probably the best tip that I can give somebody, and just focus on doing that faster and faster and faster and putting a certain limit, especially when you're doing puzzles. I think every grandmaster now suggests, hey, when you're doing puzzles, don't just let's stick on one puzzle for like 10 minutes, like time yourself, don't do that. And especially in the beginning, I would say it's mostly about pattern recognition. Don't try to do hard calculation puzzles yet until you can find a fork in like half a second, And so that's the tips that I would like give somebody seriously if they're trying to improve quickly. And then plus learning from your own mistakes. Like most people don't
for sure.
Most people don't even like looking at their losing games. And I would say look at it, dive deep into it. Even the simple queen blunder, like figure out why you lost that queen. Like what was you thinking about? Like you was thinking about the next game? Like why did you lose that queen?
Yeah. No, that's important. Yeah. And as you highlight, sometimes it's not a necessarily chess reason. It's that you got distracted or something, and then you need to work on that. That was amazing advice, Devon, but I actually asked you for content creators advice. So let's get content creator advice too. But that was great. So, but let's hear the content creator advice as well.
I'm sorry. Okay. So content creators, I would how I did it was pretty different from most content creators, because mostly people will put a lot of time and quality into like one video, and then it just goes viral or something, or another thing happens. But I would just say, just keep on being consistent with your videos. If you're trying to get into chess content, man, you better start posting every day or something. That's what I would say. Just keep on posting, even if it's like once a week. Just keep on posting and figuring out the algorithm, and be better in each video. Like get 1% better. That's actually the best advice that I can give. And being interesting and doing what you don't get burnt out though, and doing what you love to do, but still following the trend because you have to do that. There's no way to get around that.
Yeah. I feel like with all that you have going on, have you had periods where you were burnt out?
Yeah, no, that burnt me out severely. And it took me a while to come back because I slowed down from like the six videos a day, because that's stressful. All right. And YouTube punishes you if something changes in that like schedule. So if you start posting six times a day, you're going to have to do that for like at least until you want to quit. Because YouTube like, hey, you didn't post a video at this time. Now we're going to like dock some views from you now. That's what I feel like happened. It probably didn't happen. I don't know. But that's what I feel like happened.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from what I understand, like so much just depends on who they show your video to, who it's popping up for. So it could definitely be true. I mean, I know Levy, when I've interviewed him, he's talked about the importance of consistency and how like if you miss a day, you get punished, so on and so forth. So I think you're onto something there. All right, well, Devon, this has been great. It's great to. I'm sure a lot of your fans are happy to get more background info. Anything else you feel like your fans or like new fans should know about you that we haven't discussed?
Well, I post on mostly all social media accounts, so Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and etc. And yeah, no, we almost we went over everything. I got a course coming out. I post on YouTube. If you just look at those videos and listen to them, you're gonna definitely gain something out of it, and you're definitely going to. Every beginner should be able to get to 1,000 elo on chess.com. That's what I would say. That's
Okay.
like my motto that I always say, because it doesn't matter what age you're at. It doesn't matter if you started learning how to play chess. It doesn't matter if you think that you're too dumb for the game, which you're not. I don't know why people think
Yeah.
that. So, but no, we went over everything.
Great. Okay. Well, I'll link to all your socials, but I actually just thought of two more questions I got to ask for you.
Okay.
Number one, so Devon, I'm a 46-year-old dad. My main content is this podcast. I'm not planning on changing that. I do sometimes have someone help me make little shorts that are just like clips from the interview, but with with the transcript of what's being said scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Instagram, like it might get a little engagement, but I mean, the goal is not really for my those clips to blow up. It's just maybe a couple new people will discover the podcast. But on TikTok, like 0 people watch, like absolutely 0. So the question is, should I even bother? Should I continue trying with that? Or should I just say, you're too old for this site, Ben, give it up. There's plenty of other avenues to pursue.
Yeah, that's what happened to me when I was posting clips on the podcast on TikTok. Yeah, unless it's controversial or something, it's not gonna pop off on TikTok. But if you want to create like 1-minute segments on TikTok, I don't know if do you put like the most interesting parts on TikTok? I'm guessing.
I try.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I fail, but I try.
Is it a video form or is it?
Yeah, it's video.
Video form? Huh. Yeah, nah. It could be your technique too. Like sometimes you got to like do the engagement techniques, like zooming in on faces or having captures on words. I would have to look at it. I would have to look at it to see what you're doing.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to give up. There's plenty of other seas to swim in. All right, and last question. On your YouTube stuff where people comment, what is the single most prevalent comment? What comment do you see more than any other?
I like how this guy throws pieces. That's pretty much the comment that I see on the most viral videos. I was like, okay.
If you can build a career around that, that's awesome. All the more power to you. No, but you do your videos are very compelling. I found myself sucked in even when I was prepping for this interview. So congrats on the success. Hopefully, hopefully it only continues from here. And again, I mean, a lot of people listening, obviously everyone listening loves chess, but a lot of people dabble in content, and for you to have this success with everything else you have going on is truly inspirational. So congrats, Devon, and keep it up.
Thank you.